I mean, at this rate, I think we're just in this wait and see mode. I think there's going to come a point where, we've talked about expansion, conference expansion. I think we've mentioned the Florida State. I think we want out of the ACC, but I think there's going to come a point where that window is going to close pretty soon. So the SEC and the Big Ten are obviously the two conferences Florida State wants to go to. But at this rate, I don't know if we're going to be stuck in the ACC for a while.
You want Florida State to go to the Big Ten. We hang on just a second.
Go
We
ahead.
focused shows on this in the past, and you certainly gave your rundown of why. I've given my rundown of why I agree. How disappointed or how beneficial do you think it would be for Florida State to go to the SEC?
I don't think it would be a bad move to go to the SEC. I think we should go to the Big Ten for several reasons. And I've mentioned this before. I think the Big Ten, if they come get Florida State and Miami to a certain extent, and we've talked to people, obviously the Big Ten has been negotiating. They've signed their deal with NBC, so we've been a part of those negotiations. But I think the Big Ten is more of a suitable place because if you join in with Florida in the SEC, you kind of feel like you're in with the same people. We're already scheduled to play Georgia at a home and home. We're already scheduled to play Alabama at a home and home. We play Florida every year. We're playing LSU in the second of a home and home now. So we play these SEC teams more often. The Big Ten, I feel, is that expansion factor of being part of what would be a nationwide conference, a conference that goes from New York to California, a conference that goes all the way from up north in Minnesota, Michigan, down to Florida. That's where the benefit's there, number one. The money is there in the Big Ten. And I think right now, would we be playing in a tougher division if we played a division with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Michigan State every year? Absolutely, 100%. Not disagreeing with that at all. The money is there, and it's to build not just a better football program, but also a better school. That's my benefit. If we go to the SEC, great. The SEC just signed their new deal. They'll be going to ESPN and ABC coming up. I believe it's either this year or next year. They leave CBS as a whole and head there, so they're going to be big money there. They have their own network. It would also be a big move. To me, I feel like Florida State is just stuck right now in the ACC.
Do you have any thoughts about this? Our buddy Joey Foster says this has nothing to do with you guys, but do you think this has nothing to do with you guys? Oh, meaning Florida State. Okay.
Right.
But do you think the Big 12 votes or invites Gonzaga in tomorrow?
The Big 12 has shown that geography doesn't mean anything to them by expanding big. Obviously, they've invited their new members of Central Florida and BYU, Cincinnati and Houston. They've joined the conference now in football. They're finally at 12 members as a whole, but obviously that'll go away once Texas and Oklahoma leave, and then they'll finally be at 12 members as a whole. So I guess the question there is, why would you invite Gonzaga? If you're just inviting them for what, basketball? I don't really see the need of what a Gonzaga brings the conference as a whole. I wouldn't be surprised, I'll tell you right now, if Gonzaga was to go maybe join, I'm just going to throw that as an option, if the Big Ten is to invite 4 more teams, and let's say they invite a Florida State and a Miami, and then let's say they invite either an Oregon and a Washington or a Stanford and a Cal from the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 will obviously by that point be down to 8 members. Do they invite a Gonzaga to bring in for basketball and the other sports and then just stick with 8 or 9 members for football? Do you invite a Gonzaga and a San Jose State, for example, or San Diego State, and give them 9 for football, and then you have 10 for the other sports? That would be, to me, a better move for Gonzaga.